Well, I was never happy with how these gauge faces looked. The original ones in the car have rust coming through that really you can't get rid of. And I tried cleaning these originally and I discovered very quickly that you can't use any kind of Windex or anything like a stronger cleaner on these because it'll start to take the white ink off. So I wound up getting another set of gauges that were in much better condition and decided to put those in instead. Now I always do the needles in fresh fluorescent red to make them look good again. And I'll cut to that here in a second. It shows you the paint that I use for that. But putting this in, and I'm using, this is my original mileage, so I swapped these odometers around between the two. And it's not hard to do. You just take this clip off back here and work it out of that side there. And you can just swap them around. It's really not difficult. These don't fall apart when you take them out. And you just want to make sure that you get the little retainer things on the flange here in the back so that it works properly. But that's how I'm going to do that. And same with the gauges here. This background on this one also has some rusty spots on it, so I'm just going to take these gauges out, or at least this one I think I'm going to reuse, because I know this temperature gauge works, and I don't want to have to tear the dash apart again if that one doesn't, even though I did paint it up. So that one looks good. The fuel gauge one has some rust spots on it, so I'm going to swap that one around with this one. Yeah, so that should make things look much better. This is the paint I use to do the needles on all the gauges. This is a model car paint. If you've watched my channel thoroughly, you know that I do also build model cars. So you can get this at any hobby shop out there. It's Tester's brand, and that is the part number. And all I do is I slide a piece of paper or paper towel underneath the needle. Those needles are really fragile, so you got to be careful with how you approach them. But just slide a piece of paper or something underneath there so I don't get any paint on the face, and then just lightly paint a thin coat onto the needle. You might have to do, 2 coats to get decent coverage, but you don't want to put it on thick because those needles are actually sensitive to the weight of the paint, and they may read a little low if you put too much on. So, but it's not hard to do. So that's what I use. Get it in any hobby shop, probably order it on Amazon if you had to. Couple bucks and you're golden. Removing the instrument cluster on these cars, at least 66 and 7, is a little bit more work than the factory shop manual would like you to believe. They seem to think that if you take out the screws and unplug it, you can just pull it out. Now, it's a little bit more involved than that. It actually pretty much lies to you. So there are 4 screws across the top, and then 1, 2, 3 across the bottom. Those are the easy things to understand. But what you also need to take out, well, is a bit more. You want to remove these 2 screws up here, and the back side. There is a nut or a nut with a stud or whatever that holds this in at the bottom that you'll have to take out as well to remove the heater control assembly from here. I also take off the cables at the heater box end to allow for some slack to get this whole thing out far enough that you can access some of this. Before you do that, however, you need to take those knobs off of the heater control. Now, unlike most knobs on cars where you can just pull them off because they just snap on, these do not. These have little Allen head things that clamp them onto the switch or the cable control. And of course, you'll see these on the ends of these things. And of course, They're two different sizes, so you'll need two different Allen wrenches to get these things off. But just get your Allen wrench in there and unthread them. It may be a full turn, if that, and they will loosen and come right off. You don't have to take that Allen completely out by any means. Just get it just loose enough that you can pull them off. And that's a shot of the heater control itself, and you can see there's the two screws at the top that hold it to the plastic housing, and then this one threaded fastener down here. There does not actually appear to be one over here. It just is a hole that slides over a stud, so you don't have to worry about getting that. Additionally, I recommend taking the steering wheel off. Now I have this different steering wheel on, so it was a little bit different for me to do it. But yes, removing the steering wheel just gives you a lot more access. And I also took off the shift control thing so that I gain a little bit more space there to do that. The only other things you have to take off are the connections for the wiper and washer on the left side. Those just unplug. The speedometer cable, of course, in the middle of the speedo. And then this joyous thing here, which if it's never been taken apart before, probably won't want to come apart. This is a lot of fun to access and get apart, because both top and bottom have these barbed things that snap into the other end of the plug. This one is broken, so I only have to deal with this one now, which I guess is a good thing maybe. But that thing is really difficult to get apart if it's never been apart before. And that should be all you need to remove this whole cluster from the car. And it's a bit of a cluster to remove the cluster, I'm not going to lie. One other thing you want to do when you have this apart is make sure all your bulbs are good. It's a good time to do that. Just pop all these out. They just snap in the back. And check each bulb. Make sure it's good. Now's the prime time to replace those. And or you can replace them with LEDs if you want the dash to be brighter. Well, here we are with the new gauge clusters installed, and they look a lot better to my eye than the ones that were in there with the washed out letters and numbers and the rust poking through in the faces and all that. So I'm pretty pleased with that. The speedometer works now. Has nothing to do with the gauge, by the way. That is because the bolt holding the cable into the transmission was about 3 turns loose. I don't know how that happened. I'm pretty good about remembering to tighten things, but I guess it could have been me. But tighten that up, and now we've got a functional Speedo again. Speedo and Odo both. So it was not the gauge, and I kind of didn't think it was, but I was thinking it might have actually been a cable that had broken, which would be bad because they don't make those for 66 and 7s. I don't know where I would have found one. I guess I'd have to get a used one. At any rate, everything's back to working again. I did retune the engine, pulled the carb off, reset the transfer slots back to baseline, put new carb base gaskets on to just make sure I didn't have a vacuum leak around the base, even though spraying stuff there didn't really reveal any problems. Reset the timing. I think it's at 14 degrees advanced right now. And we're going to try that and see if we can get something better than the lousy 10 to 11 miles per gallon I was getting on the trip to Pittsburgh and back. I'm not sure how accurate that calculation was, although I did do it multiple times for different tank fulls. It's kind of hard to do with these cars because when you fill the tank, it will barf the fuel out onto the side of the car. So I'm kind of conservative about filling it. So my accuracy on how much actually goes into the car may not be 100%, but still, it was not getting great mileage. So I just took it for a test drive, and I kind of just gut thinking, watching the fuel gauge go down. I'm thinking it's better now, so I'll report back on that later when I know more. But that's going to do it for this quick update. Hope you enjoyed it and found the dash information useful, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks for watching.